To me, beyond the scale means to just really focus on your mentality, because at the end of the day, like, as long as you have a strong mindset, like, your fitness is going to follow, your passion is going to follow, everything's going to fall in line, as long as you have a strong mindset. And then also it's going to remind you that you can do whatever you set out to do, no matter what obstacles get in your way, no matter what people tell you, no matter what, you will make it work as long as you focus on your mindset.
All right, you guys, welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Scale. Today, I have Brittany from our Fit Body headquarters. Brittany, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Mary.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. So you have been with Fit Body for 5, 6 years?
6 years, just over 6 years, yeah.
Okay, so I actually remember talking to Brittany when we first expressed interest in Fit Body. You were like the person that we talked to in the beginning, right?
I was in sales, and so I was taking all those initial calls, seeing if people were interested, and working on getting people to open their locations. Yeah,
that's awesome. Now walk us through your journey a little bit, like your backstory. So before Fit Body, what were you doing then?
So really, I started working at 16, but from 16 all the way until Fit Body, I was really working in retail the whole time.
Wow.
And for any of you out there that work in retail, it's not the greatest, to be completely honest. And I got to a point where I was just like so frustrated. I knew I had so much more to offer, and like I just wasn't able to get where I wanted to be. And like it got to a point I was so frustrated, like I literally would drive home from work crying, like just a frustration of like, I'm not where I want to be. I need to make a change in my life.
Yeah.
And so from there, I actually decided to take a big leap of faith and completely change my career path. And the way I found Fit Body was I actually started scrolling through Indeed and just literally applying anywhere. Super into fitness at that point already, and so working for a fitness company, like, I was like, this would be awesome. So I applied, and I honestly had no hope, because the position was posted for like, I don't know, 40 days or something like that. I was like, they probably
already filled it.
Yeah. But sure enough, they called me that same day. I went in for an interview, had multiple interviews. Next thing you know, like I was offered a position, and I was offered a position in sales. Like, even though I was in retail, like sales for a franchisor is completely different and intimidating. But I was like, you know what? I want this change. I'm going to go for it. Worst that's going to happen is I'm going to give it my all, and it's not going to be the right thing, and I'll just change course.
Right.
So I did my thing. I went as hard as I could for 90 days. And then at my 90-day review, we decided to try me out in operations, because to me, like, that's more my zone of genius, my vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And I was super grateful that the company was willing to allow me to, take that next step and test out a different department. So I did. And from there, like, I really just found my groove and like what I call my home, and continued leveling up. And here we are 6 years later.
That's awesome. And I think that's a great message for our listeners. Like, you didn't have any experience doing that at all. And you just were like, hey, if I want to make a change, I'm going to have to do something drastic. Like, I'm going to have to take a huge leap of faith. And that's what you did. And that's incredible. I think that's a great message for our listeners, because there's so many people that they think, I don't have enough experience, or why would they want somebody like me? And then they just second guess all of the reasons why they shouldn't make a change, or why they shouldn't pursue something, instead of all the reasons why you freaking should. And look at you. Like, where you are today.
Absolutely. And I think a big thing that I just really want to get across, like, I didn't go to college. College is for some people, but it's not for everybody, right?
Wow.
I didn't go to college, so I had this internal dialogue with myself, like, I don't deserve that. Right. I don't have, to your point, the experience, the knowledge, all this stuff, but I have the drive. Like, I will figure it out. Like, I will search whatever I have to search to, like, give myself the knowledge, or take the certifications or whatever it is. And so I just really want to stress that message. It doesn't matter what you have, like, just your drive inside is going to get you to wherever you want to go.
Yeah. Well, that's incredible. That's awesome. I didn't know that. I mean, you, to me, you're just so intelligent. You're so polished, so put together. Like, I thought you would have taken like such a traditional route. So like, I love, learning all these new things about you. That's great.
Well, thanks.
Well, I know, talking before the show, you're a mom. I'm a mom. You're busy. Your little boy is 3.
He's about to be 3.
About to be 3. Okay. So, I mean, mean, just craziness, total craziness
Totally.
outside of work. I'm sure when you come into work, it's hard to turn that off. And I know that recently you were promoted within to in a new role with
Mhm.
FitBody. So walk us through like, okay, you're doing good, you have a child, but there's another opportunity. Like, just talk about your mindset around that. Like, I know for me, like, there have been times where I'll say, okay, life is easy. Like, life is not easy, but getting easier. Like, I can do this. I'm rolling with the punches with the 2 kids and the businesses. And then there's a new opportunity. And it's like you kind of almost second guess yourself, like, oh, do I really want that? Do I really want to take that next step? Or should I just stay in this comfortable zone for a little while?
Mhm.
And so I know you took the uncomfortable leap of faith and did something else within HQ. So talk about that.
Yeah, so, I mean, to your point, like, especially having a kid, when you get to a place where, like, oh, you're on a roll, like, finally, you're in a certain stage where you're of, childhood that your kid's in, and you're like, "Okay, like, I'm getting used to this. I know what's going on. I know what to expect. Work, okay, I'm doing what I'm doing." But to your point, like, it's comfortable.
Yeah.
And so when the opportunity was presented to me, I was a little nervous. I was not nervous to, one, do I wanna go outside of my comfort zone? But
Mhm.
then also, like, can I do this?
Right.
That initial thought, can I even take this on right now?
Right.
But I've taught myself over the years, and by challenging myself and stepping outside of my comfort zone, forcing myself outside of my comfort zone, I know that I can accomplish whatever I set my mind to. And so yeah, I mean, I just went all in. And now with that, like, I still to this day, like, I have a battle within my head.
Oh, yeah.
Between
Oh, yeah.
I work full time, and like when I'm at work, like I give it my all, like I don't half-ass anything. But then when I'm at home, I also do the same. Like I want to
Mhm.
be like fully present parent there. But also I have this mother guilt. Like
Yeah.
I'm not there raising my kid. I'm raising him, but at the same time, like I'm not there for the 8 hours a day. And so I have this guilt. But at the end of the day, I know that what I'm doing fills my cup, which then allows me to better take care of him and my family. And
Mhm.
then additionally, I know that I'm setting up his future to be successful as well. So that all outweighs it. But like, yeah, I still struggle with that inside.
Oh, yeah. And I think like what you're doing, you're adding so much incredible value, not only to, the team that you work with at FitBody, but to all of our franchisors and all of our clients and the amount of lives that you're impacting in your role. It's almost like, I have to do this. Like I have to remind myself that what I am doing is so important.
Yes.
And that is enough reason to get outside the home, to work outside of the home, and then pave the path for my kids because I want them to do the same way. I want them to do important work that they feel like they're adding value to the world. And then, talking about mom guilt, for me, for 2023, my husband and I's goal is to be more present. And I actually got this bracelet. It just says, be present.
Oh, I love that.
And so I am I wouldn't say addicted to social media, but my role is very much involved in being involved in social media. And so just to have like those distractions all the time is so hard, especially with little ones. Like even just the other day, my daughter who's 4, Sophia, she said, "Mom, get off your phone." And I'm like, I never want her to say that.
Yeah.
Like, oh my, like I need to be more cautious about where is my phone and when I'm looking at it. And so I think like just everybody now is struggling with that. It's just we're so connected all the time.
Yes.
In and outside of work. It's like you always feel like you need to respond to somebody. Like I don't know how you feel about this, but I'm addicted to my email. Like it's not even social media, it's my email. Like if I go to bed and I have unread emails, that stresses me out.
Yes, I cannot let them pile up. It's like hurry up and get back to it. I can't.
So I started making this cutoff for myself. So I pick up my daughter at 3. So she's in like a pre-K program. So they actually get out at 3. And so I pick her up. And then from 3 to 8, I have this boundary that I set. Like I am not allowed to check my email. And like if somebody calls me or messages me and it's important, like that's fine. But I don't allow myself to check my email for those 5 hours. And then when she goes to bed and my son goes to bed, then I have like an hour where I can set up my next day if I haven't done this already and just, look through my email, do anything that really needs to be done before the next day. But I used to be the kind of person where like when I would get something, like I have to do it right now.
Yeah.
Like it has to be done right now. And that is so hard to set those boundaries as a mom, a working mom,
Yeah.
like it's exhausting. Like you
is.
can really let it wear you out. Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, I want to take like a totally different turn and talk a little bit about, so a lot of our listeners, they're Fit Body clients or they're
Mhm.
just like really interested in the brand. And so I want to talk a little bit about, I just thought of this. So excuse me if you're not prepared for this
You're
question.
good.
Totally organic. So talk a little bit about the growth of the franchise because you started 6 years ago. And even me, when I started, like Fit Body was so different. Like the onboarding process for a new owner, even for the new clients, like it's just so different today than what it was 6 years ago. Talk to us a little bit about the growth that you've seen and like where it was when you started 6 years ago.
Yeah, so when I started 6 years ago, things were growing. Things were growing at a crazy speed, which is great, but at the same time, it has its downfalls when you grow too quickly.
Yeah.
So when I had first started, like we were bringing on so many franchisees each month, and we were just like trying to get them through, like get them what they need to get their doors open, help their communities, and move forward, get the next group, and keep going through. We got to a point where we realized that our infrastructure as a franchisor is not there. What we were selling back then was the anti-franchise
Right.
franchise. And we although we had systems and processes, they are not what they are today.
Yeah.
And so it took some time. Like we had the pandemic, like COVID was a nightmare for
Oh, yes.
everybody, but it was kind of a blessing in disguise, to be honest. It allowed us to slow down and really rebuild our infrastructure. We had already started rebuilding our infrastructure prior to COVID hitting, but we were still growing rapidly, so it was like really hard to like keep up.
Yeah.
But then COVID hit, and it allowed us to slow down a little bit, really rebuild that, and now where we are today, like the franchisees that we're bringing on board are so solid. The systems and processes are allowing owners to open quicker, break even quicker, and it's just been a huge game changer, which additionally helps the clients and have the best experience, so that way they can not only get the results they want, but find the community and support system that they need around them. Because as we
Yeah.
all know, like sticking to your fitness journey is not always the easiest. So having a community of support is like a number one priority.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I actually, that was one of the things that attracted us back 6 years ago was the non-franchise franchise model. And
Mhm.
we too have seen how the franchise has grown over the last 6 years. And I'm very thankful that it's not the non-franchise franchise anymore, just because of the support that you get and the value that they're adding, just like from a marketing standpoint, the assets that we get, and on the operation side, the support we get when you find a new location and you don't know how the heck to negotiate a lease and what to do for your build out.
Yep.
I couldn't imagine doing that on my own. And I think that's like something that's so scary for someone who, hey, say you have a passion for health and fitness and you want to have your own studio one day, but how do you even wrap your head around getting started?
Mhm.
And wow, like HQ has come a long way when it comes to that process. Like now they have, is it Fit Body in a box? Fit Body in a box.
Yep, Fit Body in a box.
I just learned about that entire process today from Chris. That's really cool. Like
Yep.
that is just so amazing for somebody, like I said, who knows nothing about just operating a business,
Mhm.
because we need more people that are out there that are passionate about changing lives. Like we need to help them be like, hey, you're the right person for this. Let me help you get in your studio and do that.
Yeah, for sure. We need to like keep spreading
Yeah.
our reach across not only the United States, Canada, all like around the world. We just need to touch as many lives as possible.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty. All that asset and support is the beauty of buying into a franchise and having that. Because to your point, like being an entrepreneur is tough.
Mhm.
You are on an island by yourself.
Yes.
But when you are part of a franchise, yeah, like when you're in your own location in your city, you're kind of by yourself, but at the same time, you have this support system, this network that is going to help you with everything you need to
Right.
not only build but run your business.
Oh yeah, I mean it can feel so isolating at times. Like I truly did feel like I was in that journey alone in the beginning, and I had for me, I did start as one of those people I'm referring to. Is I had a passion, like I knew how much fitness meant to me and how it had changed my life. So I was like, okay, this must be the way to help change other people's lives. I have no clue how to run a business. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just going to give it a try. And that's what I did. And I love talking to potential new owners because they ask me like, well, what trial did you run back 6 years ago? And I'm like, what trial did I run? I just said like, hey, who wants to come in for a free week of boot camp? Come on in, walk on in. It's like, I didn't do anything. I just said, hey, this is what I have to offer. Come on in, try it out.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely changed a lot. It's really funny to share stories with people about how it started and where we are today.
Oh, yeah.
How many locations did FitBody have when you started? Do you remember?
When I I can't remember how many we actually had open, but I think we had like 500 or 600, probably closer to the like 550 mark that were like purchased but not yet opened.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I know like we have friends that live in Georgia and they're just buying the whole state. They're
Literally,
ready to go.
yes. And I mean, and that just goes to show that not only the hard work that all of our franchisees put in, but also the support system that we have as the
Yes.
franchisor is allowing more and more owners to really make the impact and the income that they need,
Mhm.
buy multiple locations, and just continue to spread their reach. So.
Right, right. Well, gosh, I feel like this podcast has turned because at first I was like, we're going to talk about motherhood, and now we're going to talk about business. And so, for our listeners, I hope you're getting a little bit of everything today. And hey, if you're interested in franchise ownership, you can always contact Brittany or I, and we will walk you through that path.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so going back to busy motherhood and just taking care of yourself, because you did say, you had a passion for fitness before even joining the FitBody brand, and that was what attracted you to the job. And gosh, thinking back, I know even for me, it's like, oh, I can have a career with fitness. Like that is awesome. Like not just, training people one-on-one, but doing something to a larger scale. And that's what you're doing today. How do you make time to still like take care of yourself during this busy season?
So I will say before having a child, it was way easier.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, but right now, I mean, what I do, I really focus on the things that I can control. So there's some, like, I feel like as women, just humans in general, really, not even just women, but there's so much pressure to like do amazing and be on point in every single portion of your life. And let's be honest, that's just not realistic. Something's got to give at some point.
Right.
And so right now, like what I really focus on is my lunches. Like I meal prep. I actually purchase meals so that way I can make sure that I stay on point for lunch, because being at work all day is crazy, and like it's easy to just order unhealthy food and get it in, scarf it down. But having that pre-planned for me really helps me stay on my nutrition. And then when I get home, like I already want to be a mom that like is healthy, and I want my child to be healthy. So then, we do that for dinner.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to fitness, like right now, I'm full transparency. I'm struggling a bit. Like it happens. Like even working for a fitness company, it happens when you struggle. But I'm lucky enough to not only work and be around a bunch of people that hold me accountable, and so I know I'm gonna like make my way back. But I mean, I still work out 2 to 3 times a day. Currently, I do it
2 to 3 times a day.
I mean, sorry, a week. I wish.
Go, Brittany.
2 or 3 times a week. And yeah, like it's like I have to stay at least to some level. Like I would obviously like to work out more than that, but something's got to give. And so as long as it can keep me going for now, take care of my son, and still be able to accomplish what I do at work, that's what matters. And continue working my way back to getting in there 5-6 days a week.
Definitely. And you'll get back to that at some point. Yeah, for me, like I used to tell myself I'm going to get up and go to the 6:15 FitBody class, because like FitBody is like one of our locations is 10 minutes from our house. So it's super easy. Well, once my son started sleeping through the night, it was like, there is no reason why I can't do this. Well, now my daughter gets up like in the middle of the night, pretty much every other night at least, and comes into our bed. And so it's like impossible for me to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
And then there have been plenty of mornings where I'll get up, I am like ready to walk out the door, and I'll hear like, Mommy, can I come with you? I'm like, no, you can't come with me. And Sophia comes to the gym with me a lot and just sits on like the sofa and watches her iPad or colors. And she'll be like, I promise not to get on the floor. I'm like, no, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. Go back to bed.
Go to sleep.
So, it is so hard. It's like you have this plan, but it just never seems to like happen like you want it to.
Totally. Especially with kids. Like
Yeah.
they go through their own stages and phases and it changes
Right.
constantly. So
Right.
keeping up with that.
Right, I know. I keep reminding myself, and even my friends, we talk about this. It's like we're healthy. Like we're doing okay, okay?
Yeah.
Like are we in the absolute best shape of our life? No, but we have little kids. We have people that rely on us.
Totally.
And as long as we're working on being better each day and we're still like doing the foundational habits that we know that are going to set us up for success, then we're good. Like
Exactly.
give yourself some freaking grace.
Yes.
It is so hard.
We all need to give ourselves more grace.
Yes, yes. Well, Brittany, thank you so much for joining us today. I've loved chatting with you. One thing that I like to ask all of my guests on the show before we leave our audience is, what does beyond the scale mean to you?
To me, beyond the scale means to just really focus on your mentality, because at the end of the day, like as long as you have a strong mindset, like your fitness is going to follow, your passion is going to follow, everything's going to fall in line as long as you have a strong mindset. And then also it's going to remind you that you can do whatever you set out to do, no matter what obstacles get in your way, no matter what people tell you. No matter what, you will make it work as long as you focus on your mindset. So beyond the scale to me is just to really focus on your mindset and having those positive thoughts.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. And all fingers point to you, right? I love it.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I know I got incredible value from this episode. And if you did too, please subscribe to our channel, comment below with your biggest takeaway, like and share with all your friends. Thanks so much, you guys. And I'll see you again soon.
Thanks, everybody.